Okay, this is take 12,563. I'm joking, of course. It's probably about the fifth take on this. And the reason being is because I've done this 5 times now. And I've made 5 mistakes. Okay? The way I approach this is what I'm doing is I'm molding the machete that I have. And this is a French machete, also known as quince machete, and it's cut in an angle. You can see right there it's cut at an angle like this, so it doesn't have a rounded tip on it. So what I'm doing is and I did this 3 different ways. This is the third and final way. The first way I did it was I took some EVA foam and I put it over the end. And I shaped it, I cut it, shaped it, and it came out just like this. But the problem was the EVA foam has porous material. It's got holes in it. So I thought, if I pour the silicone on that, it's going to absorb into there and it's going to leave a bad texture and not a good mold. So what do? Then I thought, well, I'll just lay clay over that. So I started laying clay over it. And then notice that it was going to be an extreme defined line right here on one side. Because the objective is to mold this whole thing one-sided and then kind of turn it over and mold the whole thing the other side, but not lose the thickness of the blade or increase the thinness of this blade. It's pretty thick. So what I'm trying to do now, so I scrapped that idea. Then I turned around and I thought, well, I could put clay on it and just do it with clay. But there again, there's that line there, and I even smoothed it out and it's all floppy. So I thought, that's not going to work. So then I took a piece of foam board. Once you got right back here, the line cut for laying it in there and building a box. But I got to lay clay down on that, probably about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch thick, so I can put this in there, because you see this is a inch thick handle right here. So I want at least a 1/2 inch to cover that up to that line. So these 2 sides are molded separately, but at the same time I've got to keep the thinness of this blade here and the thickness of the back. I can't build up on it and make it thicker than what it is. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. I want this to be as accurate a machete to the movie as it is. By the way, like I said, I'm working on the restructuring of the Part 4 Jason I sculpted. Went through a lot of photos online. Found ones, printed them out with my laser printer. This is the one where he's actually got the machete in his head. Then there's these shots that show crisp, precise detail work, like I did for the Part 7, but I didn't want to go to Walmart, print out a bunch of photos, and pay $15 for photos. When I got a laser printer, I can just print them out in a large scale to where I can see it, and it's almost lifelike. So when I re-pour my sculpt from this mold here, back here, I can put it on here, and then I can take this and it's almost lifelike detail size-wise, and I can make sure that the details and stuff that I sculpt are going to be accurate. Like, in other words, it looks better for me to hold it up like this in almost lifelike proportions, and you get a better idea of the angles and the length and everything of the details that you want to do. And I did do the details. I mean, I took a bunch of shots. Some of them aren't great. This is a shot in the video where Tom Savini made Jason laugh. Then I've gone in here with like 4 portions of breaking up that one headshot, closing in, and making sure I get all the wrinkle detail everywhere, so I can see it everywhere, so I can get every line, every angle, every detail. Because when I did the initial one, and it was, what were the words that they said? God-awful. God-awful sculpt. Okay, yeah, okay, well, if it's god-awful sculpt, then I have the right to go back in there, re-pour it up, refine it. Now people go, why are you re-pouring it? Because I don't feel like sculpting the whole goddamn thing all over again just to prove a point and to make it better. So that's why I saved my work. Like I said, I made a mold of the initial casting and everything when I siliconed it. Made a mold, did all that shit. It's got all the detail in there, so I just clay pour this up one side and the other and make it thick enough to where it will fit around this, so I can put the front and the back on there and just, you know, seam it together and then work all the details and then do a ultra cal mold. I'm going to do an ultra cal mold for this. Now on this, you know, I got to go inside here, put clay up in here to close the mouth a little bit, close the eyes a bit. So, you know, like I said, I put clay in here to close this off because I've already sculpted it. But when I'm doing the refine work, even though I drill the eyes and stuff out and the mouth, I don't want to push anything in. So I put clay back there to hold that in place. So when I do go put it on there, just this placement holder. And I've also done the teeth. I did individual teeth in this mold here. And we'll take, this is just a little container. I think it had sunflower seeds or some shit in there from the grocery store. And I use these containers. This is a celery, chopped celery thing I guess my wife bought. So see, I have these teeth that are super glued down and just made a mold of them, right? So all I got to do now, I get all those teeth out. I use these teeth for the sculpting. So I'll put these back over here, but I've got a mold of them. So when I want to replicate them for each casting, I just pour resin and fill these up with resin. Alright? So, got teeth molds for each of the teeth that go in his mouth. And, of course, y'all saw the teeth that I had. Some of them were too tiny, some of them weren't big enough. But I'll set that off to the side because that'll be used when I re-pour the sculpt, put it back together. Because the teeth that were in there were separate. The gums and the teeth were separate. So I have to redo the mouth work on them. And that's what I'm going to do, is just set this up to where when I just clay pour, I can just, like I said, gets cut in half right here. Put the front on, put the back on, do a little seam work to put it together, and then go in and do all the fine, super fine fucking detail. Okay? And I'll be doing that. But like I said, right now I want to get this out of the way. So I'm just making the machete. And then I will be going in later today. I've got to go somewhere right now, but just to show you guys how this is being set up. Like I said, with the machete blade and everything trimmed out, done off. So now I've got a machete that has an end blade on it, instead of being the quint machete that's cut like that. And then I can just, like I said, put this in clay, build a mold box, put that in clay like that, silicone mold one side, flip it over, silicone mold the other. I'll probably have to do an adjustment with this, either by taking it off or cutting another piece of foam board paper and putting it over it. But the thing is hopefully that mold will be successful. The actual building of the end of the machete, very simple. Although it took me 3 tries to get it right. But it's simple, successful, and everything. So I'm just kind of walking you guys through this thing step by step as I'm doing it. So you can see what I'm doing, start to finish. That way people can't come back, you didn't do that, you didn't do that, blah, I know everything, you didn't do that, blah, 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 blah. So, any case, and this also can help you guys learn something maybe. So, there we go. We've got a machete end, or a machete blade. That is a machete, but, you know, the one reason I didn't use the one above my office thing is because the bench over there is that's a real thin blade, and it doesn't have the thickness like the Quint machete does in order to make it look good, thick, and somewhat authentic. I'm trying to find a cap for this super glue. Son of a bitch, where is that cap? It's got to be somewhere. Well, I'll just lift that over. I don't want to squash it and fucking do all the shit. So I had my heat gun because I melted that foam piece down, and of course it shriveled and you know, kind of fell apart a little bit. I was able to shape it and save it, but it was just more work building clay and doing all that, and then taking that off, trying to build clay. And then finally I just said, fuck it, gave up and said, I'm just going to do this with foam board and paper. And that's about the simplest way to do it. The whole thing with me is even though I go through several steps from A to B to get where I'm at on something, this is the first time I've ever done this for a prop, it takes a little trial and error to figure shit out. And I will show and tell all that best as I can. You don't really get that from many other artists telling you about their mistakes and all that shit, what they're doing, how they're doing it, and all that shit. Because that's what would make me different from most other people. There are some people that will show you. Tyler Pasquale is a friend of mine. He is doing some videos of sculpting, showing line making and the tools that he's using, and I'll be doing that as well. But I'm happy to see that a lot more artists are stepping up and doing videos of what their work is, how they're doing, what tools they're using, the way they work, so people can learn and build confidence in getting started and doing this stuff. Now granted, if you're a beginner, you may or may not have a great first piece of work, but don't let that get you down. Everybody has to start somewhere. And here's the tip to my damn scalpel. Everybody has to start somewhere. And so, you know, don't let it get you down. If you don't succeed the way you want to the first time, just keep at it. That's all you gotta do, is just keep at it. Keep moving forward. Keep pushing. Keep doing it. And eventually you will get there. Okay? Like I said, it took me 3 tries to get this right, because I overthink shit sometimes, a lot of the time. And it's unnecessary. But that's just the way I work. So there we go. Alright? So I appreciate you guys. I will come back to this when I get ready to put the mold box together and do all that. But like I said, there's the end of the machete. It's kind of crude, but it's shaped out. I think it will work. And the mold process will tell us whether I am successful or not. Okay? So I appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one.